Good afternoon. It is June 8th, 2022, and here's what we're looking at for today. Looked like a range for the most part, and it was really hard to know what was happening, but then the floor just fell out, and it turned into a downtrend, and I do believe this is the channel, but we never really got confirmation. I drew it off these lows. If you draw off the highs, it doesn't really, it would explain this little channel down here, but I just didn't like the midline as much. Yeah, so I think, which one did I have? All right, yeah, I think this is it, but it only had two touches, but that midline holds prices. So anyway, I just want to note, I've been going for I want to start going for 2-point scalps, I think, and every single one I marked today got 2 points. So that's just something to think about. And another thing to say is, again, I'm in education. I work in education, so my summer schedule, I don't know how often, how consistently I'll be getting to these videos. I just want to keep everyone, the people who watch these anyway, aware of that. So I did not see any trades that I liked up until, oh, whoops, not good. All right, that's probably it. Until well after the open, really. I don't see anything. Where's 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock is right here. This lower high, I don't think you can take that. This is a failure, but that's not like off a trend channel. You see that? So you can't take that. This is a second entry, but it's not a good signal bar, and it's not off a trend channel. So we make this new low, and you actually get a failure right here, but that's going into the EMA, so I don't really like that. Form some congestion, breakout with trend. It fails, but we get like kind of like a breakout pullback. You get a first entry. That's actually a second entry. So I'd probably take that. And I mean, it's a second entry. It does look congestive, but looks pretty good. But when we get this failure right here, I think that's where you want to take it. Either way, you get the 2 points. So, because at this point, I think you can pretty easily have that trend channel. Right here, you might not, because you might have had it drawn like that. But then after this swing, that's looking like that's off a trend channel. So I like that. Come up here, we make a new high, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. It doesn't set up below the EMA, but that's clearly off a trend line, and we just broke out over the overnights, so I like those. You see, you got to overshoot, it leads to a break, and no setups in here. Make a double bottom right here and bounce, and this is when it's hard, man, because you don't know where the highs are, the lows are, so you got to be patient. And we make a leg up, form this congestion, breakout counter trend. That fails. Breakout with trend. Just about as much of a breakout to this side as it is to the upside. And you get this lower high, and that looks pretty good, but we're not too sure if prices are going to go higher. So I'm not too crazy about that. The signal bar is really good. I don't even think you have much room. 51.50. So you only have a point back to the EMA too. So first entry, you get this failure. You might look at that as a trend channel at that point. But it's congestive, super congestive. So I would say stay out of it. Come down here, and you can see prices were held by the opening price a couple times. So you get this really, oh yeah, okay, so look, people jumped in early. I was one of these people, so that's how I know. jumped in really early. I took that second entry short, even though I'm like, that's a third inside bar. These are dojis. I took it. And so as soon as it failed and you get this signal bar, that's how you know that is a trap. And so this channel wasn't really very clearly a channel. So you can scratch that. It's not much of a channel. And it's turns out to be a good trade. You can see prices don't really have a clear low in this channel. So I think that's a trade you got to take. First entry, second entry doesn't set up well. It's far from the EMA, bad signal bar. You test that price again, then you test it again. I mark this as green. You're entering in like the midline of congestion. So with these entries, me personally, I like to drop a limit order back. And if you did, that gets you a nice move. But even if you went above that, you still get a 2-point scalp. Come down here. That's a second entry long on a double bottom. You might consider that because it looks like we failed. We broke out to the low side counter trend, but we tested these overnight or these highs, so we might be going down low. So it's not a great entry. Then we make this strong move down. Unfortunately, there's no entries in here. And we get a break, and you form this. I like this entry. You get a leg up, form some congestion at the EMA. We form this level of support, and then we make a move to a new high, and you get a second entry short. And I don't know. I like that. I like that. We had this. This was a super strong channel down right here. So we're expecting to test that low. And if you don't jump in there, we get like a repeat pattern right here. So second entry, boom, new low, second entry. And I think either of those are good entries. Get this lower high here, but I'm not too sure you want to take that. Yeah, you might. Overshoot, new low, break. First entry, second entry. I don't like that signal bar. We test that price again. Good signal bar, but not really a lot of room to the EMA. And we keep testing it, but I just don't like these setups. This is a range. These are dojis. But if you have the trend channel drawn correctly and you have this as a midline, you might take this one. Yeah, you might consider those. So we formed this pink channel down. I had it as a range. Turned out to be a channel down. Come up here, you get a first entry, second entry off that midline. Lots of room to the EMA. If you're feeling aggressive, you might take this and ride it to the EMA. But if you're patient, you get a couple of nice entries. This was pretty clearly like a channel of correction. You get a first entry, failed second entry. That's like a 5-tick bar, super low risk. So 4-tick bar, yeah. So you might take that, even though it's above the EMA. But you might look at this as a double top. You see this is we have a close of prices right here. This is actually a higher close. So I was looking at this as a double top. So you might take this failure right here. And then you might take this, but this looked too late in the trend. Just had a late feel to it, and it's just a lower high. But then we reverse. You might consider this, but this doesn't. This looks like just a double bottom kind of entry. Then we get a second entry after the break. You might consider that, but I felt prices were going lower. Oh, this is another reason these were good entries, because we tested the overnight lows. I forgot about that. Oh, and that brings us to the end of the day. So that's what I saw for today. I hope everyone had a great day, and I will be back tomorrow.